In today's video, we're going to cover the 8 tightest elections in American history. Number 8, the 1948 election featuring the infamous Dewey defeats Truman headline. This stands as one of the most dramatic and memorable upsets in American political history. The Chicago Tribune's premature declaration of New York Governor Thomas E. Dewey's victory over incumbent President Harry S. Truman has become emblematic of the unpredictable nature of the electoral process. In truth, the 1948 election was closer than many polls and pundits had predicted, but it wasn't one of the tightest races numerically. President Truman won comfortably in the Electoral College, securing 303 votes to Dewey's 189. However, the margin of victory in the popular vote was relatively slim. Truman received only around 4.5% more than Dewey, a differential of roughly 2 million voters out of the nearly 49 million cast. This discrepancy between expectations and actual results is what makes the 1948 election remarkable, as opposed to the numerical closeness of the contest. Number 7, the 1916 Woodrow Wilson versus Charles Hughes election. This election was a nail-biter that came down to the state of California. Wilson's campaign positioned him as a leader who kept America out of World War I, which resonated with voters who wished to avoid involvement in the conflict. Hughes resigned his position as a Supreme Court justice to reunify the Republican Party, fractured by the Taft-Roosevelt election 4 years earlier. As the results came in, Hughes had an early lead, but once California results were tallied, Wilson managed to secure the state by fewer than 4,000 votes out of nearly a million cast. This narrow margin in California gave Wilson a victory in the Electoral College, allowing him to win re-election with 277 electoral votes against Hughes's 254. Number 6, the 1960 election between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon. This election was incredibly close in the popular vote. Kennedy's victory in the Electoral College was more comfortable at 303 to 219, but the popular vote was decided by roughly 112,000 votes out of over 68 million. Allegations of voter fraud in Texas, where Kennedy's running mate Lyndon B. Johnson had significant influence, and Mayor Richard J. Daley's Chicago have since become part of the lore of the 1960 election. Number 5, the 2016 election between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Trump secured the required Electoral College votes with 304 compared to Clinton's 227, despite Clinton winning nearly 2.9 million more votes than Trump in the popular tally. Trump's victory was the product of narrow wins in crucial swing states such as Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, each of which he won by less than 1% of the vote. This win is noteworthy because pre-election polls predicted a comfortable win for Clinton. Number 4, the 2000 election between George W. Bush and Al Gore. The election was ultimately decided by the Supreme Court more than a month after Election Day. The ruling halted the recount of disputed ballots in Florida. Bush was declared the winner of Florida by a mere 537 votes out of nearly 6 million cast in the state, which gave him the Electoral College victory by a margin of 271 to 266. The 2000 election highlighted issues with voting equipment, ballot design, and the broader process of election administration. Number 3, the 1888 election between Benjamin Harrison and Grover Cleveland. Incumbent President Cleveland won the popular vote by a modest margin, but lost the Electoral College 233 to 168. This election was particularly notable for the influence of powerful business interests and the pivotal role of tariffs in the debates. Harrison captured the electoral votes off of key northern states, which helped him secure the presidency despite losing the popular vote. Number 2, the 1876 election between Rutherford B. Hayes and Samuel J. Tilden. One of the most disputed elections, Tilden won over 50% of the popular vote and 184 electoral votes, just one shy of the majority. However, 20 electoral votes from Florida, Louisiana, South Carolina, and Oregon were contested. An electoral commission made up of Congress members and Supreme Court justices in an 8-7 decision along party lines awarded all disputed votes to Hayes, giving him a 185 to 184 electoral vote victory. This result effectively ended the Reconstruction era as a part of an unwritten deal known as the Compromise of 1877. Number 1, 1824, Andrew Jackson versus John Quincy Adams. Often referred to as the corrupt bargain election, Andrew Jackson won the popular vote and received the most electoral votes, but failed to secure a majority in the Electoral College in a four-way race. Since no candidate received the necessary majority, the House of Representatives had to choose the president, as dictated by the 12th Amendment. Despite Jackson's initial lead, the House elected John Quincy Adams after Henry Clay, another contender, gave Adams his support. Clay's move was controversial and led to Jackson's supporters to accuse Adams and Clay of striking a corrupt bargain when Clay was appointed Secretary of State under Adams. Well, there you have it, the 8 most contested elections in American history. Remember that every vote counts, especially in tight races.